And of course, the corresponding USD markets were pushing up. Euro USD, Pound USD, all seeing some upside. Of course, this is the DXY here. We did see some downside and we just about broke through some structure. So it looks to me that DXY is not holding 107 very well, and that we could be seeing a move to the downside here. I'm looking at the weekly chart. Today's Thursday. Still got the rest of today and Friday, but we might not see too much movement because of Thanksgiving, especially in terms of USD anyway. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how we close for the week. So far, we're looking pretty bearish. And to me, this looks like prices just come back into the high, bit of a wick to the upside, and rejected it pretty well. So in my book, there's a good chance that next week's going to be bearish too, or at least see some movement to the downside. Whether we close bearish or not, that'll be a different question. But we probably will see some downside next week if we can close out this week's price action like that. Like I said, we still got the rest of today and Friday, so things could look a little bit different. But so far, we are seeing some nice momentum. And of course, dropping down to the 4-hour chart, we've got that break of structure. So now I'm looking for a lower high here for basically that head and shoulder pattern we were mentioning yesterday. So of course, you got the left shoulder over there, you got the head over there, and now possibly the right shoulder for a retest, coming back into that resistance. And from here, maybe you could look for some opportunities on EURUSD or some other USD pairs and take USD to the downside. In terms of targets, I have spoke about a retest of the high here, 105,300, and also the retest of this area here. If we look a little bit more bearish, there's a possibility to have that big move down. But the key thing for me is that USD is still very stretched, very overextended, expecting a bigger pullback at some point. And the fact is we're rejecting that big weekly level there at 107.2. So in my book, that's a recipe for downside. Now, of course, we've got the break of structure as well. We broke to the downside with some nice momentum too. So it's ticking a lot of boxes, let's say, with USD for some shorts, looking for a pullback and some downside. The only thing is that, as I said, we might be a bit dry Thanksgiving. So we might not see the momentum needed for a pullback this week. It might come early next week. But I am looking at a lower high at some point and a push to the downside. So looking at that in terms of Euro USD, looking at the opposite, this one hasn't broken through structure yet, so the opportunity is not as good. It would be nice if Euro USD did what DXY did in terms of breaking the high here and then looking for a pullback afterwards, because then we will get that inverse head and shoulder pattern. So you got the left, you got the head, and possibly a right shoulder forming. So if you can go break that structure, that would be nice. Pullback, higher low, continuation. Unfortunately, we haven't got that break of structure, so I'll still be waiting for that to happen. You can be looking to take some buys on Euro as we approach some of these areas. It's a bit more of an aggressive trade. Reason being, the market structure is still bearish. We're still pretty consistent with the lower highs, lower high over there, lower high over here, lower high over there, and this could be another one as well. So even though we've got the breaking structure in DXY, it would be nice to get that in the Euro as well. Because at the end of the day, if you're trading Euro USD, you want the price action to be looking good there. Yeah, and the DXY as well, not just the DXY itself. So I think this would be a nice opportunity, but it would be even better if we can break structure first and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Euro. And of course, if I quickly jump to the weekly time frame, you can see we're still trading a massive level of weekly support, which price is still holding on to. So naturally expecting upside there. Again, DXY is pretty much doing the same in the opposite direction. Just the price action is looking a little bit better over there. In terms of Pound USD, expecting upside as well with this one. Again, all the USD pairs, I'm basically looking for retracement now. But with Pound USD, I'm more interested in the shorts actually, rather than the longs. This one as well, some nice upside momentum yesterday. Didn't really do anything in terms of breaking structure. We pushed back into an area where price can form a lower high and possibly have another sell-off as well. So again, not quite doing it for the buys for myself, but I do still like this area up here. Breaking retest of that low, solid support. Now will be turn resistance around 1.284. If price was to get up there, that would be a really nice place to short. A lot of momentum, expecting a pullback, and I still think we can go and test some deeper prices as this area here on the daily chart. As I've said, we've broken structure on numerous occasions, so Pound USD has made this bearish move with a lot of intent. So I do think we can keep pushing. It's just about timing that pullback well. So looking for around 1.285 for some shorts. Of course, we're quite a long way away from that. So I'm not too focused on pound USD at the moment, but as things develop, might see some nice shorts maybe next week. But still very much my area of interest. Aussie dollar, I still do like this one. The buy is from 0.64. Not quite there yet, still very sideways, pretty much consolidation since we started for the week here. If price can break to the downside one more time, I will be looking for some buys to try and take Aussie dollar to the upside. So a retest of the low here. I do like the opportunity for a bounce at this level. Again, pretty much the same analysis as what we're seeing with the other USD markets. We've been falling for a while. Market's very stretched, hitting some bigger levels on the higher time frames, daily, weekly charts, expecting a bounce. And that's essentially what I'm looking to trade here with Aussie dollar. So if you can fall to the downside one more time, nice sharp move, that would be very nice. Flush out some traders, and then we can see a bit of a push maybe again next week. Whether we get that one more drop to the downside, who knows? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But if we do, that's when I'll be looking for opportunities, because right now price is kind of middle of nowhere. I know we're kind of reacting with some lows here, but this is the main area I'm looking at, 0.64638. So unless we get back down there, I don't really see opportunity in my eyes. So yeah, looking for another push to the downside for Aussie dollar, then looking for the buy. New Zealand dollar, we've already had a bit of a bounce for this one as well. We came back into some big lows on the left over here, 0.58, as we can see. So price came back into this area, nice little bounce to the upside. Looking fairly bullish, but again, haven't really broken through structure yet. Bit of the theme across the market. It looks like DXY is the only one which has actually broken structure to the downside. Again, with ends the USD, we're approaching some areas where again we could form a lower high. Market's been pretty consistent with them, and we could be forming another lower high in this area. So until we start to get some break of structure, it's a bit difficult to be looking to buy ends the USD unless we come back for a double bottom down here. That could be a nice trade. But really, some break of structures would be nice, and then we can look for the high lows afterwards. Because again, the idea is still USD markets are still oversold. We've seen a bit of upside recently, but it's not enough for the big drop we've had over the past few weeks. So still do expect more upside for USD markets. Ends the USD, I'll keep an eye on the double bottom here. Otherwise, we're back in bearish territory. Not really looking to take any buys in that area. Dollar CAD, this one looks like it's retracing. It has come back to a nice area for some buys. Again, you can see the overall the market structure is overall still pretty bullish. Again, I do expect USD to have that bigger retracement and dollar CAD to have that big retracement as well. But like we saw with the other USD markets, we're coming back to areas where we might see a bit of a push back up again. You can see prior resistance on a couple occasions last week. This could act as a really nice level of support. I would wait for some more indication that the market's about to bounce there. If maybe we could have a strong push down and then a nice bullish engulfing afterwards, that could be a nice entry candle there. But in terms of the area of trading, this is a nice place for buys. The sells already had their fun on the way to the downside. Unless we keep going and break structure, that's a different scenario altogether. If we do break structure, I'll be looking for a pretty big drop there for dollar CAD. At the moment, still pretty consistent with the higher lows, as we can see previously. So looking for another bounce to the upside. And as I said yesterday, a push back to this area looks good. Maybe if we're lucky, we might see a push back to the high. But I think buys in here look good. I'll just wait for some development. Might not see the entry this week, like I said, because of Thanksgiving. In terms of gold and silver, so gold and silver, I'm not really a big fan of, to be honest. I am pretty bullish still with gold. I like the bounce off that low there on the left, but just not really doing it for me with gold. As I said, coming to the week, this was the area I was looking to buy from. At the moment in time, we're actually using that as resistance. So that's definitely not the plan I had coming to the week, but we did break that structure on the left, which is why I shifted my bias from bearish back to bullish. And I do still expect us to have that continuation to the upside at some point. Yeah, it might be a bit slow. Maybe we have that double bottom and then we have the continuation. So that could be a nice opportunity, a nice place for a stop loss as well. But other than that, I'm not a big fan of the price action with gold. So I'm not really looking to trade it, but I still do have that bullish bias. And same with silver as well. I still do have a bullish bias with silver. It's just the price action isn't fantastic as well. I know it's coming back into that same area where I bought from last week, but not looking as good anymore. So I did say yesterday, if price can start to create some bullish structure, that could tempt me again to look for some longs. But if we can break through the high, that would very much tempt me to look for some longs. Break above that, I'm expecting us to come right back into the high there at 34.84 and probably see a lot, see price go a lot further as well, because I do expect a lot more upside with silver. Break above 32.5 is a big indication that silver is probably going to keep pushing. So that's really the opportunity I'm after, which again is a long, long way away. And yeah, I'm not really focused on the USD pairs this week. As I said, yen is my main focus.